So Disclosure Day was directed by Steven Spielberg and written by David Kohlhoff, and it stars Emily Blunt, Josh O'Connor, Eve Hewson, Coleman Domingo, and Colin Firth. And in this movie, it's about a group of people who find themselves connected to this growing government conspiracy about something that was hidden for a good portion of a century, and it's about to come out, and basically the world may change because of the revelations. So this was a movie that I was really looking forward to for a variety of reasons. Number one, Steven Spielberg. Steven Spielberg, arguably one of the best directors of all time, and also a director who's very, very unique and like he can do any kind of movie, and it's always going to be fascinating, to say the least. And not to mention, he was doing another Alien movie in the vein of something like Close Encounters of the Third Kind and E.T., and less like War of the Worlds or Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. And not to mention the cast, again, Emily Blunt, Coleman Domingo, Colin Firth, a whole bunch of people who were in this movie. And the trailers themselves looked very interesting, as it was keeping a lot of secrets themselves about like what this movie was going to be about, and kind of trying to hide a lot of things from this movie. Apparently, Spielberg mentioned, hey, I don't have any of the third act in this trailer whatsoever, or any of the marketing, which is really cool to see. But having seen the movie, there are some clips from the third act in the trailers, but I won't spoil it by any means. But let's dive into it, because honestly, I walked out of it thinking, this movie is solid. This movie is interesting. I will even say this movie is good, but there's a part of me that kind of wanted this movie to be great. And I don't want to say it's a bad movie. I'll say it's a solid movie, because there's a lot of things in this movie that are good, but I kind of wish it was greater. So let's start off with the things I do like, because, there's a lot in this movie that I think is actually really good. First off, I think all the performances are really good, particularly Emily Blunt. I thought she completely commanded the movie. She was great in this movie, and when you find out, like, how she's fully connected into the world and such, like, okay, that's kind of interesting. Josh O'Connor, also really good. Eve Hewson is pretty good. Coleman Domingo, Colin Firth, they all deliver good performances. I think every character in this movie has at least one moment where they can just shine. Like, this is a moment for Emily Blunt to shine. This is a moment for Josh O'Connor, Coleman Domingo, Colin Firth. Everyone gets a moment to be, like, very invested in the world and show how they're connected overall. And it's like, okay, that's actually really cool to see. There are definitely some thrilling sequences in this movie. A lot of chases that are really cool. Like, there's one involving a train that's really cool. There's another one where you kind of see in the trailer, but like things are kind of just exploding, like a fire hydrant exploding, cars just kind of going everywhere. It's like, okay, that's also really cool and well done. And there's just a lot of moments in that, particularly in the second and third act, where they're actually really cool and such. The score by John Williams. Like Steven Spielberg, John Williams, arguably one of the best composers of all time. And his music in this movie is incredible. Honestly, I kind of stayed throughout the end credits just to listen to his music, because the music was just so well done. Arguably, I think it may even be my favorite score of the year so far. It is beautiful, it is haunting, melancholic, somber. It kind of has every emotion that you can kind of feel from this movie. And I feel like it works overall for what they were trying to go for. The cinematography by Janusz Kaminski, also very well done, another Spielberg collaborator. And his cinematography, I think, is absolutely gorgeous. There are so many shots in this movie that are actually incredibly well done. There's also that long take where it's like about 4-minute long take where it involves Emily Blunt's character going into the studio and getting ready and such. That was also very surprisingly well done. And I will say that the ending itself, I actually did like the ending. I was at least invested in like what they were going for with the ending and such. And I also liked with the ending that there's no dialogue for the most part for those 10 minutes. And I think it's actually very interesting seeing like how the world kind of reacts to various things and like how this all goes down and such. And I will say that there are a lot of interesting ideas about how people kind of perceive the world and how things can be changed and such, and how that dynamic can actually change your perspective about the world. And it is very fascinating to see like kind of a world in chaos where it's like, can something change the world and kind of like make everyone stop and stare for a moment? Like, this can be a moment that connect all of us despite issues and such. It is a very fascinating movie to think about while you're watching it, and also after thinking about it. Admittedly, I saw it on Thursday, opening day, and I had to take a couple days to be like, there are some ideas in this movie that I'm like, that's intriguing. I don't know if I like this movie, but it is very intriguing to think about. So, a movie that can stay with me like that, I'm okay with. And I will admit, I kind of want to see it again, because maybe there's something I'm missing from this movie where it's like, maybe I didn't catch that the first time. Or maybe it's like, it's something, if I look back on it, it's like, this kind of has a whole new meaning now because I know what's going on with this movie. I usually like that with movies, and I'm kind of thinking this is going to be one of those movies where it's like, maybe it's going to have those moments. But let's talk about some moments in this movie that I don't like. Mainly the pacing of this movie. This movie is about 2.5 hours long, and there are times where you can definitely feel the length. I feel like there are definitely some scenes that could have been tightened a little bit. I would have been fine with if this was just a 2 hour movie, but no, this is 2 hours and 25 minutes. No, I feel like it could have been shorter a little bit. Also, should this movie have gone a little further with what it was trying to say, or was it just too ambiguous? Because I feel like there are aspects of this movie where it's like, again, it's more planting the seed and you kind of have to think about it yourself for a bit. But I don't know if that would have made the movie better or worse if they actually explored that idea. But, sometimes where it's like, you get like what they're doing and like they have a resolution, but you don't really have. I don't know what to say really. Because, like, if they have an idea, but like they expand on it and they have a resolution to the idea, is that really satisfying or is it not? And I feel like the movie has a lot of those ideas, but never really expands on them. But I don't know if I really want to see how they resolve themselves. Also, there's a part of me that kind of watched this movie and I'm thinking, what this is not. I feel like this could have been directed by M. Night Shyamalan or something. Like, some of the dialogue is not admittedly the best. I think the script is kind of the weakest part of the entire movie. But I definitely feel like there are times where it's like, if this was directed by M. Night Shyamalan, would this have gotten a lot of the same reception? I feel like this could have been like a pseudo sequel to Signs, which, Signs I actually don't hate by any means. I actually have a Blu-ray of it. But there are times where I'm thinking this could have been a pseudo sequel to Signs, and I feel like it would have been just about the same. And also, I guess the best thing to say about this movie is that aside from the last 10 minutes, I don't know if there's any wow factor for this movie. Like, I feel like everything is kind of a little too drab at times, and I'm thinking itself, I need something in this movie to kind of just stick with me and like something that actually resonates with me. And the only time it did resonate with me, which I think is also the most important part, is again the ending. Which I've seen a lot of people say they didn't like the ending. I'm actually okay with the ending. But again, it kind of goes with the ideas like everything's a little ambiguous and you're kind of thinking about what happens afterwards. Again, I'm not sure if that was really the best idea, but at least it kind of left me with an idea as like, okay, this was actually intriguing enough and kind of made me think after a while. Again, I wouldn't mind watching this movie again, and I think people should go out and see this movie. So, Disclosure Day, I will say the performances are great, the score and cinematography are great, there are a lot of interesting ideas, some really cool sequences, and I actually don't mind the ending, but maybe it's a little too ambiguous. Some part of me imagined, like, what would have happened afterwards, but again, it's kind of leaving me with the idea, so at least I'm kind of thinking about it afterwards, so I think that's okay. But there are some things I feel like they could have been tightened a little bit, like the pacing, and also some aspects of the movie that I feel like could have been developed better, but also it kind of feels like an M. Night Shyamalan movie at times. But this movie is definitely very fascinating. I wouldn't say it's as good as Close Encounters of the Third Kind or E.T., but yeah, definitely better than War of the Worlds or Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, and I think it's definitely worth watching. I'll give Disclosure Day 3 out of 4 stars. See it. So, what are some of your favorite Steven Spielberg movies? He has such an incredible filmography that it's hard to just narrow it down. Comment down below, subscribe to the channel. This is Pat, and stay safe.